Okay everybody, in this video we're going to look at the equalizer, or the EQ, see what it is, how it works, what it does. So we can find our EQ here. Now what an equalizer is basically a frequency specific volume control. So what that means is I can turn up or down my bass frequencies, I can turn my mid frequencies up and down, and I can turn my high frequencies up and down. In this project I'm going to be using the EQ on the stereo output, so that means it's going to affect everything in this project so we can really hear the impact it's having. The main type of EQ, which is what this one is a parametric EQ. So that means we've got access to all the different parameters. So I can change the frequency from lows, mids and highs. I can change the boost or cut. And I can also change the quality or Q or bandwidth to affect a really narrow area of frequencies or to affect a wide area of frequencies. So let's look at these different filter types along the top. And we've basically got three different types. We've got our passers, so we've got our high pass down here which cuts out bass frequencies. We've got our low pass up here which cuts out high frequencies. We've got our shelves, which either boost or lower the high frequencies or the low frequencies. So they're the shelving EQs. We've also got what are called bell filters. So they're where we can control a specific area of frequencies. So let's go through these one by one and see what impacts they have. So starting with the high pass filter. So this is going to remove the bass. So I'll play the project and I'll slowly raise up the frequency so that you can hear it should remove the bass frequencies. Leaving us with just a very tinny high frequencies. And we'll take that back down. We'll then do the opposite. We'll look at the low pass filter, which is going to remove high frequencies. So again, starting all the way up at the top, I'm going to take this down gradually until we've just got the bass. So you might not be able to hear this if you're listening on a phone or on your laptop, because we've just got the very low frequencies that them small speakers can't produce. Next we look at these shelving filters. So these are designed to turn up or down the whole high or low areas. So we'll start with the high, and I'll turn this up, and this is what's known as adding air. So you should have noticed there that it got a lot brighter as I turned that up. Let's see what happens if I turn it down. So it gets a lot duller. Now it's not completely removing them frequencies, unlike the low pass filter. It's just turning them all down. Let's do the same thing with the low shelf. So let's boost it first and then cut it. Heavy bass. And then there where I had it all the way down, again it wasn't removing them frequencies altogether, it was just lowering them in volume. So now let's look at the bell filters. So I'm going to select a frequency area and just pull this up and down. you should hear there is that as I boost frequencies, we get a really nasty sort of ringing sound. Now, a very important point to remember is that cutting with an EQ is a lot less obvious than boosting with an EQ. So as a general rule, you should always try to cut frequencies first before you boost them. So for instance, if you want more treble, you should try cutting the bass. And if you want more bass, you should try cutting the treble. This is because it's much clearer this way, it's much less obvious. Now let's see what happens if I've got a really, really tight bandwidth and I do a boost. So you should be able to hear a really nasty ringing sound there. Whereas, if I turn this all the way down, you can actually barely hear the difference with that on or off. Okay, so that's our EQ, that's our different filter types. We've got the low and high pass, low and high shelves, and the bell filters. We've got our different parameters, and that's the impact it has on the sound. In the next video, we'll look at some specific uses of the EQ on individual instruments.